Hey everybody, welcome back. We are continuing our read through of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, and we are up to the last interlude before we begin part 4 of the book, which is super exciting. And this last one, the first 2 interludes were interesting side characters that help give a little color to the world. Interlude 9, entitled Death Wears White, refocuses on a very interesting character. And this is Seth, son Vallano, truthless of Shinovar. This is the assassin in white. This is the one that has killed King Gavilar 6 years earlier. And here we find him again, killing ruthlessly. Now you may remember Seth's, the sort of how he operates. There is I believe we figured this out at this point. There is a way to control him. And if we haven't read this, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I think we have. There's a way to control him, and it's by possessing something. And if someone possesses this item, he has to do whatever. The rule, though, is that he cannot harm himself, and he can't tell anybody how he is controlled. So those are like the 2 rules. And we'll learn more about Seth as the story unfolds. But here it seems that someone new is his master. And he finds himself rushing into a castle, a palace, during an evening banquet. And he is supposed to attack King Hanavanar of Yakaved. And so Yakaved is where Shalon is from. So we got a little connection here. And Seth uses Stormlight. So we kind of have a full-blown example of what this type of magic looks like. The light from spheres, Seth can take that light, he can infuse it into himself, and he can use that light to do some things. Now what Seth is able to do is he is able to lash things, meaning he can change essentially the gravitational pull and the gravitational strength on items on himself by touching or by sort of lashing himself forward. So for instance, if he lashed himself to the wall, that would become down, and boom, he would lash feet first. To that. If he lashed himself upward, that would become down, like gravity pulling him up. He can double, triple, quadruple, time and time again, the strength of it. And he can also lessen the strength of gravity on himself by doing like half lashings and quarter lashings. And so this is how he navigates through places so well. He doesn't have to walk everywhere or run everywhere. If it's a very long, straight hallway, he can lash himself all the way down the hallway and give himself like a quarter lashing, and he will fall nice and easy all the way down, but faster. So we see a lot of this in this interlude. But there's something interesting. Seth obviously has a shard blade. He's very gifted using it. But when he is slicing and dicing, slashing and hacking and killing ruthlessly through this castle, he's growing more and more angry. He's angry at this king that apparently he was sent to kill because he blames him for having this incredible ball, this incredible party. Because if he wouldn't have had this party, Seth wouldn't have had to kill all these people. So it's this weird back and forth. He hates himself, and yet he gets mad at his victims, and so that sort of motivates him on to do more killing. He does get to the throne room, the main grand hall, and he begins killing people that are in there. It's terrible. But when he gets to the king, he senses something is wrong. He immediately lashes himself up to the ceiling as, under the king's table, 2 full shard bearers come popping out. So they were trying to lure him in, even though everyone was dying. They were still trying to get him in towards the king. Well, Seth is now in a battle. And more than that, the king summons a shard blade. There was rumors whether he actually was a shard bearer or not. Turns out it was true. So he's got 2 full shard bearers with suit and blade, and the king who has a blade. And he has a blade. So one on can I say 2.5? However, it doesn't matter. Seth actually drops his blade. It mists away, right? Because you have to hold your hand out and summon it 10 heartbeats before it comes back and you can fight. You drop it, it goes away. Unless you die, then it stays in the room. It clangs to the ground. He makes quick work of them. He drops his shard blade. It mists away. He begins lashing. He begins lashing himself. He begins throwing people different ways, infusing people, dropping them, raising them, lowering them. He infuses, like, it feels like an entire wall and crashes this wall into a shard bearer, killing him. He makes quick work of them. And we get an interesting title of him. He's talking to himself, and he says in his brain, "You are a work of art, Seth son Naturo, a god," which is a different name than we get at the very beginning. Seth son Vallano. Here we get Seth son Naturo. So maybe a little bit more. This seems to be a name. If he was Seth son Vallano, and here Seth son Naturo, is Vallano his grandfather and Naturo his father? Maybe. We'll see as we move forward in the story. But the chapter kind of ends when the king has tried to escape. He's run away when he realizes things are not going well. Seth catches up very, very quickly. And he crashes into the king. He's killed everybody around. Finally, Seth raised his blade over his head, looking down at the king. "What are you?" the man whispers, eyes watering with pain. "Death," Seth said, then drove his blade point first through the man's face and into the rock below. This interlude, we find Seth doing what seemingly he does very, very well, which is kill people in creative, impressive, and ruthless ways. What is the deal here? What is going on? We're not told. Someone is commanding this. He's working for someone, and he is working towards some goal, we can assume. But that's all we're given. You'll remember back a couple chapters ago when Kaladin was in the midst of that high storm, and he was sort of like he was the storm blowing through towns and villages and mountain peaks and things. You'll remember he blew into a building one time and saw a swordsman in white standing over some individuals. We can probably assume that was Seth. That was Seth killing someone else. So he seems to be on this sort of killing tirade. What is the purpose? What is the goal? Maybe we'll find out in upcoming chapters. Thanks so much for watching and for reading. I hope you're enjoying it. If you're interested, you can like and subscribe to the channel. We'll keep going. We're about ready to start part 4, which is the last part of the book, I believe. Yes, I believe it is. And yeah, things are really going to pick up now as we near the end of book 1 of the Stormlight Archives, The Way of Kings.